Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video on DC Studios. Today we're going to be talking about the potential sale of the whole of DC. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. Okay guys, so in the last couple of days there's been a couple of articles that have caught my attention, and one of them is coming from Deadline, which is going to be in the link in the description below. It's titled "James Gunn denies packing Superman Legacy with DC characters to attract buyers." This is what we're mainly going to be talking about here, because actually some of these rumors could be very huge, right? Like if they ever turned out to be true, but like I said, this is rumors, and we're going to get into all of this and break down the article and what exactly is going on with the DCU and, you know, general DCTV stuff, or basically anything that is DC related that is linked to James Gunn and DC Studios. So for now, just want to remind you guys, my new merch is available. If you want to support the channel and you want to get some merchandise, top link in the description is where you can find it. There is hoodies, t-shirts and everything. We've got new designs. They're really great, and thanks to everyone that has been getting merch so far. We've got just under 1 month until this design goes down, because if you guys don't know, we release them as limited edition designs. Yes, they might be available later on down the line once again, but at least not for a long time. So go click on the link in the description below if you want to get some merch and support the channel. I really appreciate all of you guys. Okay, so let's get into today's main topic. This is coming from Deadline, as I said. And so let's break this down. So it begins like this. James Gunn is clarifying some rumors about the DC development slate, starting with Superman Legacy and a potential Justice League live-action film under his direction. So Gunn's first film since becoming co-head of DC Studios with Peter Safran is a Superman film. For that project, Gunn recently confirmed that Guy Gardner, Supergirl, and Mr. Terrific would be part of the story. Obviously, this comes after they recently announced the casting of David Corenswet as Superman and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Everyone is looking forward to this new stage of the DCU. You know, they're trying to basically soft reboot stuff and start anew with Superman Legacy in July 2025. But people are also inherently curious as to how they're going to go about it and what their true intentions are. Because right now we've just had a few pieces of information here and there. You know, the big slate announcement was the big thing, and obviously the recent castings of the first film. But generally we don't know where the full trajectory is going. I guess they don't want to reveal it straight away in case it doesn't actually work. So we've only got like half of the first slate. So we don't even know what films, TV shows, animated shows or animated films are going to be coming after the first set of films that were announced in the next like 5 to 10 years, I guess. Because after that, if all goes well, they're going to be heading towards Slate 2, so Part 2 or Chapter 2 as James Gunn calls it. And we have to take this all into consideration with the fact that DC hasn't been performing very well in terms of the DCEU, and so obviously that's a major motivation for DC and Warner Brothers trying to pivot and soft reboot, because they want to find a way to make things profitable, kind of I guess a bit more like Marvel in terms of their profits, not necessarily making films like them, but having that interconnected universe that is good, but they're also producing really good films. And that's not to say, you know, Blue Beetle isn't good or The Flash or Shazam isn't good. It's just the fact that, for instance, Shazam did not perform well at all at the worldwide box office, and same with The Flash. I mean, yeah, The Flash cost more than Shazam, but technically I would say maybe The Flash even did better than Shazam. So box office wise, it's not really performing as they want. Like, they would want The Flash to be like a $700 million plus film in terms of what they take in. Like, they want all their films to be like the Batman, have like 700 plus million. You know, that's the most recent film that actually did really well. And they also would like to replicate numbers like they did with Aquaman, but obviously not everything has gone their way in terms of numbers. And yeah, it remains a question as to who is exactly to blame or what happened to these certain films and why they actually didn't perform as well as they should have done. But yeah, so that's why we're heading towards the DCU. Let's continue with this. So the fact that there are 3 new characters would be introduced in Superman Legacy got some to speculate that this was ordered by Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav in order to attract potential buyers. And I have to emphasize this right here and right now as we get into this. This is pure speculation. This is rumors, so take it with a huge grain of salt. So Gunn saw the report and denied the story, replying on Threads, "Of course not." So that was the first article that he replied to. That was from Bounding Comics. They're not super reliable. I'm sorry if anyone here is a fan of them, but as far as I know, and I don't know too much about them, they do report on a lot of unsubstantiated rumors. So let's get into that before we get into the second part of this article. So mainly what it's talking about here is the fact that they are accusing and saying that David Zaslav and Warner Bros. Discoveries, their higher-ups, are making James Gunn have a bunch of superheroes in Superman Legacy in order to pack it full, to attract potential buyers and potentially sell the rights after they produce a couple of good films. That's the gist that I get from it. I don't think it makes entirely that much sense, only because why would you produce a bunch of films, spend your money, yeah, they could potentially perform well, and then, you know, even if you sold the rights to your characters, you're only going to get that upfront payment. You're not going to get that future payment, unlike building a whole universe. And what happens if James Gunn's universe is successful and it does Marvel numbers, it does really well in terms of box office, and they make money on most of their films? That would be great. That would be better than a big buyout straight away. Yes, it would be a lot of money up front, which Warner Brothers is desperate for. We all know that in terms of what has happened since Discovery came in and David Zaslav took over. Like, he is interested in selling and making money in any ways that he can. Yes, he is willing to sell the rights to certain characters, to give away projects to Amazon, to Netflix. We've seen that with Batman, the new animated series, which is the Cape Crusader on Amazon. We've seen it with Netflix, that being the Greg Berlanti show, which is a potential Sandman spin-off, Dead Boy Detectives. We've seen that, and you know, he's not shy about doing that, but I think that's where the rumor comes from. However, it's unsubstantiated and there is nothing concrete to what is actually being said here, and I frankly don't understand why having Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific would make Superman Legacy more sellable. I think Superman Legacy is sellable already in terms of, you know, it being a Superman film. Like, that is sellable by itself. So I question why anyone would think this. I guess the whole idea is like, yeah, by packing a bunch of heroes into the film and introducing them early on in the DCU, what happens if you set up all those characters and make their own spin-off films and like them have appearances in different films in the future? And so I guess that's kind of where they're getting at, like in terms of like building the DCU early on, having all those characters rather than it just be like solely focused around Superman and Lois Lane. But I like that James Gunn just straight up replies, "Of course not," in terms of, you know, the article that he's replying to, because he's not doing this to sell DCU to some other studio or some other streamer. Like, it makes no sense. Anyway, let's move on to the next part. So DC over the weekend announced a Justice League animated film at San Diego Comic-Con 2023 that will be released in 2024, so next year, and it's based on Crisis on Infinite Earths. Many deduced that this could be the basis of a possible live-action film by Gunn, and I don't think this is actually too far-fetched, because we know what they're doing with DC Studios. That's all going to be linked in together, whether it's animation, TV or film. And so some people, including myself, have speculated Crisis is huge. It could be a big crossover film, and obviously this is just big in terms of animation standards and the Tomorrowverse as they call it. There's the potential for big cameos, and many people are now speculating that because it's 2024, it's the year before Superman Legacy comes out, what happens if they go ahead and introduce and link it in terms of the animated world to the DCU? So that's led people to believe that potentially this could be, you know, the start of something bigger, a potential live action Justice League film by James Gunn or produced just by DC Studios, because they're doing a Justice League film here with Crisis on Infinite Earths. And with it being Crisis, there is definitely the possibility of these cameos and crossovers and the multiverse. But James Gunn replies to it and shoots down the rumor straight away by saying straight up, just no, full stop, that's it. And yeah, I have to say I'm a little bit bummed about this. Like, I would have loved to see this. Obviously, he might just be here shooting down rumors because he doesn't want anything to be revealed. But you have to guess at some point they're going to build towards the Justice League film. And I would think it would be very cool for them to link in the Tomorrowverse and what they've been doing over at DC Animation with WB Animation for quite a long time now. And I think Crisis is the perfect opportunity to link it in. So I would have loved to see this. Again, we're just going to have to wait and see as to what this Crisis film actually has to offer. It might be big. It might be not as big as we think, like the comics. It could be more like the Arrowverse's version of it. We'll have to wait and see. But it seems like right now James Gunn is saying, no, this isn't going to be a spin-off or kind of like a Kickstarter for a live action film, because we've been told in the DCU all the voice actors who would be voice acting the characters would be the same actors who would appear in live action. So, you know, they've been casting Creature Commandos, they've been working on that. That's going to be the first DCU related project to come out. It's an animated show, and so they've cast it with the intention of having those actors who are going to be voice acting appear as actual people in a real life live action, you know, spin-off or show or in any other project, because that's how they want to link it in. So I really like what he is potentially setting up with animation and live action, and I love the fact that we could potentially cross over. You know, it was great seeing it in Spider-Verse, seeing live action and animation crossover. Everyone loved it. I think it's a cool concept, and I would love to see it replicated in the DCU, but I just don't think it's going to happen in this Crisis on Infinite Earths film. I think this might be the last film in this kind of era, the Tomorrowverse, and what they've been doing with DC animation and all the animated films that they've been producing over the last however many years. And so, yeah, obviously I'm looking forward to the DCU and what they have to do with animation, but I think it's a shame if this was the end of this, so that's why I'm hoping for them to actually link it like the rumor and the article actually suggested. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more content like this, please be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. We make DCTV videos, we make DCU videos, and anything of the like that is of interest to you guys. So for now, remember, you can get my merch by clicking on the top link in the description below if you want to get something nice and support the channel. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.